Good afternoon and thanks for joining us in this edition of 360 Degrees. And today we focus on ghost workers. This week, the Minister of Public Service and Administrative Reforms, Joseph Lay, announced the sacking of over 1,170 workers from the public service for reasons of long absences without justification. And this is coming to add to a huge number that was sacked just some months back, taking the number to over 3,755 in a very short time frame. And appearing before the members of MP this week equally, the minister said some 5,000 are in the pipeline and they may be sacked as soon as possible if they don't justify their situation. This is 360 Degrees, and we shall be with you for the next 1 hour. Do not move a muzzle. You are welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is 360 Degrees, and we are beaming live from the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, as we talk the situation of ghost workers, with many being sacked from the civil service this week. I have 4 gentlemen with me in the studio that will take us through with the topic of today. I will begin straight away from my right to welcome NSANGOU YACUBU NJIKAM. He's been here several times and he's here again. YACUBU is one of the elements that communicate for the ruling party, the CPDM, and aside that, he is an economist. YACUBU, you are welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Hyncenth. Good afternoon to my co-panelists, and good afternoon to all the viewers of Canal, and special good afternoon to the thousands, millions of CPDM militants and sympathizers who are watching us this afternoon.
Thank you so much. I go to my left, where I have Mr. HASSAN. This is his first time being here. I've tried several times for him to be on set, to not available. We thank God for his availability today to communion with us on this very important topic. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Hyncenth. I want to thank the management of Canal. Okay. I want to thank you especially for caring to remember me. I want to regret how I have not been able to be here before today. It has not really been premeditated. Yeah. I want to tell the televiewers that this is where I started talking on the air.
Yes, with Tabby Clarkson.
It was here with Tabby Clarkson. And I remember the first day I came here, I went back, I almost pulled off my head because you journalists are always very dangerous, trying to fit words into people's mouth. And I never understood how the thing goes. There were things that your colleague forced me to accept that I said what I did not say. However, I'm still alive, and I think that with time, I have come to mature. And today, I want to greet my co-panelists, greet our million televiewers out there, and I hope that whatever we say here will be to build.
I must assure you that the discussions today here will be very objective. Okay, next to Mr. Sama is NTANG JULIUS. NTANG JULIUS is a civil society actor. He is a peace crusader. He has a lot of caps, but let me just limit it at the moment to his role as a civil society. JULIUS, this is equally your first time on this set. You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Hyncenth. It's been a pleasure. I've been wanting. We've been speaking and contemplating on when I can have time to be here. Finally, you got me yesterday, and I'm happy that I'm here. The discussions will flow, and I wish we'll be able to flow and give the televiewers the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. The last but not the least, from my far right, is ABEL SAMARI. ABEL SAMARI is a journalist, and he doubles as the Director of Information for Royal FM. ABEL, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Hyncenth. Thank you to all those followers of Canal D, and it's a pleasure for me to be in this 360 degree. You know, sometimes when you sit in the kitchen to watch, you always wish to come from behind. It's a pleasure for me to be here. I want to say good afternoon to Mr. Hassan, good afternoon to Mr. Tan, and good afternoon to Mr. NJIKAM. They are brothers and people we have always been together.
For sure. If you are watching us, sit calmly get a glass of water. As we shall start the discussions, there will be a number where you will be able to partake in the discussions on the topic of today. But before that, ladies and gentlemen, I think let's just revisit some few news-making events of the week before we come back to dive into our discussions proper.
Daggers, often used by robbers or angry individuals, have become weapons of choice in daily street confrontations in Douala 2. A recent stabbing near the Douala Central Market, where a man was killed in broad daylight, is one of the many incidents in Absentee must have prompted a divisional officer to enforce strict measures.
The two children had daggers amidst people, and nobody could intervene. What we saw the last time around Douala Central Market was a problem of 5,000 francs that someone was stabbed. They had a discussion, someone selling daggers was passing by, and the other pulled one of the daggers and stabbed the person he was fighting with.
The divisional officer's decree prohibits commercialization, production, and possession of daggers throughout Douala 2, with an exception for butchers in designated sale areas. Residents of Douala 2 see the streets from the central market to Newbell and beyond are rife with fear. Many complain of rising insecurity, with individuals openly carrying daggers, putting lives at risk.
It is with the use of daggers that people are attacked, threatened, and killed. It gives them the courage to carry out the act. If you don't have the dagger, they will possibly not do so.
While the divisional officer decision has been widely welcomed, inhabitants are calling for additional measures to address insecurity. They believe the ban on daggers is a step forward, but stress the need for broader actions to preserve lives and enforce safety.
There is a lot of insecurity. People are attacked every day, and sometimes you are just walking on the street and they attack you. It often appears as though you are having a simple conversation with them, yet they are attacking you.
The DO has warned of sanctions for those defying the new regulations, urging strict compliance to restore peace in Douala 2 Council area.
Whereas the social climate in Bamenda seems to be calm, suspected separatist fighters have this Wednesday, November 20, set two township taxis on fire. The incident occurred at about midday at the Brasseries Junction, Church Street in Bamenda 2 subdivision, about 400 meters from where the first taxi was burnt some months ago. Reports say the attackers fired heavy gunshots to dissuade any form of intervention before emptying the vehicles of their passengers to ignite the flames. It was only after their departure that some volunteers struggled in vain to put out the fire, beginning with the pulling away this green car that would have been the next victim. For some months now, separatist fighters in the northwest region have been waging a campaign against commercial vehicles painting yellow as part of their already 8-year-old struggle to create a breakaway state from mainland Cameroon. So far, over 10 yellow cars have been burnt since they became targets in Bamenda. Relatedly, a video recently emerged on social media showing a group of armed men, still believed to be separatist fighters in Kumbu, in far-off Mbui division of the same northwest region, occupying the Kumbu town center and addressing the population in the local Lamso language. They are purportedly warning anyone who will dare set foot on the palace ground to take part in the Gonsok cultural festival, which according to them has been banned. Separatist fighters are accusing the administration of pushing for the holding of the festival to use it as a trophy that normal life has returned. Back in Mezam division, the whereabouts of the former mayor of Bafut Council is still unknown 6 days after he was kidnapped. Nancy ABEL Guanso was reportedly picked up from a funeral ground few days after sharing didactic materials to some underprivileged children of the municipality, there has still been no statement, no request from his abductors.
Thank you, Cynthia Latte and Sherifa Saleh for those beautiful reports there. We come back to our talking point of today, and we are asking the question, is massive dismissal of civil servants the solution to curb the persistent absenteeism within the public service? Let me begin with you, YACUBU. How did you perceive the news that 1,170 civil servants have been sacked from the public service?
Okay, thank you for that very important question. I think that it's a very good measure which has been taken by the government, because the measure was the instructions was given by the head of state in 2018 for the head count of some civil servants, because at that time close to 8,000 civil servants were concerned, and after the first, I think after the first procedure, close to 1,981 first batch was dismissed. After the second batch came in with close to 424 other agents dismissed, and this other third batch, which came today, which came few days ago, and then the Minister of Public Service is talking about another 5,000 which is pending, and which is probably their case is still under. So I think that we have been following the news, following how civil servants are moving out of the country, and others are using all sorts of illegal procedures in order to, especially teachers, because out of these civil servants who have been sacked, most of them are already in Canada. Most of them are in...
not cutting you, just indicate that the rector of Douala just this year said 83 teachers were being awaited, and he did not know where they went to.
Well, yeah, that is it. And it is really unfortunate to have brothers and sisters who are just leaving the country. We are not denying, the government is not refusing people, because a work contract, it is a contract. You sign the contract with an employee, between an employer and an employee, and then the employer, which is the government, the only thing he's asking for is that if you do no longer want to work, you should resign before moving out of the country. But you see people who engage illegal procedures, they leave their ATM cards here in Cameroon, and then they are in Canada, they are in the US, their family are illegally using the ATM cards here to collect the salaries for which they are not working. Aside that, we also have cases of non-declaration of debts. We have civil servants who died and they are not declared, and the family keep on collecting the money. And I think that the digitalization and this whole system that has been put in place will help to clean up those such situations.
Okay, I'll be coming back to you. Julius, why will people try so hard to write exams over and over to get into the public service, and when they are given the job, they don't want to go to work?
Thank you so much. You know, the public service in Cameroon has been perceived as a ground where you can freely go about. That is why no matter the low pay when it comes to the cost of living in Cameroon, many people can choose to go into the public service instead of maybe working in the private sector, because they know there is laissez-faire in the public service. That's why you see some people, they fight, they even bribe to get into the public service, because they know even when they go around, nobody questions them, and they are there. Even when they are sick, their salaries are left untouched. They commonly call it job security, and that really suits them. And it comes back to the laissez-faire of the system. NSANGOU mentioned about the system that the Ministry of Public Service actually setting up now to be able to track absentee workers, and that is the only way, because in a country where you have to pass through airport security checks before moving out of the country, at that particular moment you are supposed to be detected and then signal at the public service. If you're a worker, the public service automatically identifies that you have moved out, and then when you are supposed to return, if you don't return, they are supposed to automatically know. I seriously think that the government of Cameroon is losing chunks of billions because of this. And I feel that if they invest more in security measures to be able to identify workers who are not present in their job sites, those who are moving out. It will save billions because it doesn't cost much to actually set up such a system in Cameroon as compared to what the government is losing per year. Yes, like he mentioned, we have those fake matricles that have been created because amongst those who were dismissed, who have been dismissed, if you check well, you see fake matricles, those who do not exist anywhere in real life. You will see those who have moved to Canada. You will see some that have not gone to their job sites because of the insecurity in the Northwest region. Then you equally see some that have just decided to employ other people and put in their various job sites. And they even go through because they collaborate with their immediate boss. Okay. Like, yes, like you see someone presenting resumption of duty, whereas he has never been to his job site for the past 1 year. That has been signed by his boss, and he compensates his boss for that. So those are things that the government really needs to put in place to be able to track such systems.
Yeah, thank you so much. Mr. Sama, he's painting a very funny picture of the public sector. What is your take on the phenomenon of ghost workers in Cameroon, where government spends billions every year for people who do not work?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think that my two co-panelists who have spoken, they have touched some of the crux of the matter. But I think what they are doing is that they have been beating around the bush. Okay. He tried to almost come close, but maybe I don't know for the fear of what, I don't know. The first thing is, how do ghost workers collect money? Okay. There are people who are behind, who are doing this work, and the government can identify them easily. Okay. Because you go to the bank, you will find who was collecting money for somebody who was not there. Yeah. He made mention of the fact that they could even arrest people at the airport or identify people who are traveling. You have no right to stop somebody who is traveling. Maybe most of them go out during their leave periods.
Not stopping, maybe just to know that he has gone and then he has come
Yes,
back.
I'm coming there. It is not the work of a policeman to identify who is not going to work. We have, each department has a hierarchy. As he said, there are people who have had resumption of duties who have never been there. Who gave them that resumption of duty? You start tracking those ghost guards from there. Because if we keep on doing what we are doing, we will never resolve the problem, because the people who are behind, who are in these offices, collecting some fallouts for those people to continue taking money. Are
you saying that the controllers are part of the problem that we are facing?
They are definitely part, because when you go, if there is what you call impromptu checks and balances in the offices, you will discover that you will meet even a boss who will tell you that somebody whom you know very well had even died, that the person was at work the previous day. He said that some people are dead as collecting money. Do you know that there are people who have died from the public service, and the government took part in the burial with flowers? His colleague took part, but the government continued to pay them. And when you try to find out, the government tells you that no, they have not been informed officially. I mean, a government, just like in 1987, when Cameroonians were crying foul that people were stealing money from the public treasury. What did President Biya say? Where are the proofs? And after that, it skyrocketed, because people said, no, we have somebody who can protect us. So let us face the facts from those bosses who are protecting these criminals. We have seen violence all over Cameroon. These are criminals who are creating violence, because there are people who are ready to work. They don't have the opportunity. There are people who said they wanted to work, they are not doing it, and they are collecting money. I want to tell you that each time I go to Bonas, I weep internally. Why? You see geniuses who are manipulating the computer.
Wizards.
But go to office.
Computer wizards.
Go to offices. You meet people that they have employed that they said they have PhD in computer. But when the computer goes off, they cannot even put it back.
Okay, ABEL, the anxiety to get into the public service, it is almost the wish of every young Cameroonian. But then, when they get in there, it seems a lot of things go wrong. Are there untold stories within the public service that many who are out cannot really say?
Yes, there is an untold story, because I don't know, Hyncenth, in your journalism career, where you have ever seen a communique coming to the newsroom announcing recruitment of people or Cameroonians into the public service. I think the last time I remember is the 25,000 job offers to young Cameroonians by the head of state. You discover that sometimes the recruitment is done mostly on political basis. And we live in a country where there is a lot of economic hardship. People will prefer to abandon this private sector to be able to work in the government sector, because they believe that there is a lot of largesse there. You can go to work at 11 o'clock, and by 12 or 1 o'clock, you leave the office. Mr. Hassan was just pinching the reality, because we have failed to love this nation. The issue is that when you look at recruitment into the public service, those that have been dismissed today, how do they come in? Because if they come in the right way, we are not going to have the number that we are having. And sometimes you see a politician will call a minister. I have one of my stubborn child who is doing nothing. I want you to engage him into the military. And you see, because of the political lineage, you will see that person will be able to recruit in the military where he doesn't have that passion and what they like. Tang said earlier, we are so passionate with the aspect of matricles, because there is a lot of advantages that comes with this issue of matricles. Once you have a matricule, you can easily get a bank loan to whatever bank. But once you have a matricule, you can easily get another post of responsibility in other structures.
What is difficult in sticking with such advantages then, before you see others disappearing?
The issue is that it is difficult, like you are rightly saying, Hyncenth, because people don't go in for what they love doing. Okay. Today we have people who are teachers, but they do not go into the teaching profession because they love the job of being teachers. They do not go into the teaching profession because they see it as a calling. But some people see it like a stepping stone. The stepping stone into me is that I have struggled to secure a job. I cannot. That is why you see majority of those who works in our ministries, majority of those who roam around and refuse to go and teach our children in the classroom are holders of the plaque. That is the senior teacher certificate, those who went to ENS. They go to the ENS, they struggle just because the moment they get it, you see one brother who is a political guru will say, no, come and be my private secretary, come and be my permanent secretary. You will see very soon they will tell you about the aspect of deploration of certain workers. So it creates that confusion. We are now in a political, let me say, asylum or sous in the sense that people actually look for every possible means. That is why in every family, the moment you are recruited into the public service, they give thanksgiving to church. They organize a very big feast because they know that when you are having the whole family is better. But if we had to make it in a better way in the sense that those who were going in, they go in for merit. There is a concours for you to be able to be a nurse. There is a concours for you to be able to become a teacher. I know those concours do exist, but the recruitment should be transparent. Okay. And when they are transparent, you will see people will start to do the job that they do. I remember in the 2000, when the 25,000 jobs were recruited.
2011.
Thank you very much. A young man was recruited into the journalism field, but he has never been to any journalism school. Okay. He was sent in one regional delegation of communication. When he reached there, the regional delegate was like, okay, bring us the new idea. Since you are just coming from school, he told the man frankly that there is no light here. Everything I have is in my computer. So you see, there is a statement in science, especially in computer science, that garbage in is garbage out. Those we recruit in the public service, they are garbage. No, we should expect.
Okay.
What we are expecting today.
Thank you. I see you itching to react, but I'll be coming back to you. Let's take this report on the sacking of the 1,170 civil servants.
The government continues to battle with growing cases of long absences The government continues to battle with growing cases of long absences of civil servants at their workplaces. Despite numerous suspensions every year, the phenomenon persists, with many abandoning their jobs for greener pastures abroad. Is the dismissal of 1,170 state agents, as announced by the Minister of Public Service and Administrative Reforms, Joseph Lee, a solution to the problem?
Mais ce sera un peu comme un coup d'épée dans l'eau. Parce que les agents qui sont là, vraiment pour la plupart, nous connaissons notre pays.
The action is like a drop of water into the sea. We have to look for long-term corrective measures. What the minister has done is laudable, but far from being a solution. The phenomenon is in a fast rise and it stems from the recruitment process. We don't see the absences in the private sector, but the state has tolerated the lapses in the public sector. These are the fruits of corruption.
La vraie corruption, c'est elle qui touche l'absentéisme dans l'administration publique.
Analysts underline loopholes in the regulatory mechanisms which have fostered a laissez-faire attitude among state workers.
Il y a régulation, mais les agents qui doivent réguler ne sont pas là.
Even those who are supposed to regulate the situation are absent. They pay less attention, making the mechanism inefficient. It is a structural problem.
Les problèmes sont structurels, ils peuvent être résolus en profondeur.
The consequences of these absences are a huge handicap to the state.
L'administration perd beaucoup d'argent. Il y a une exode des finances publiques.
The government loses a lot of money in the process. People collect salaries for no work done, but concentrate in working with the private sector. Some are based abroad but still collecting salaries here. Just in 2024, the state is losing more than 4 billion CFA francs on people who are not working.
Notamment l'année 2024, c'est environ 4 milliards de francs CFA que l'État du Cameroun a perdu comme ça, sans pouvoir récupérer ses rendements en termes de services publics fournis par ses agents absentéistes chroniques.
However, experts insist that the fundamental problem of poor working conditions and low salaries in some sectors must be addressed to reduce cases of work abandonment. Meantime, those sacked can appeal to the higher disciplinary committee of the Ministry of Public Service and Administrative Reforms to justify their absences.
You're welcome back. YACUBU, how do we explain the fact that people are absent from workplaces maybe for about a year before the powers that be will come out and say, okay, this person has not been there?
Yeah, it is. There are various elements that can explain those type of situations, and we're talking about the complicity of hierarchies.
Yeah.
Because in a school, you are a principal, and you know that there is a mathematics teacher who was working, and then for about 1, 2, 3, 4 months, children are not having a mathematics teacher, and then you, the principal, you are the one to signal the situation to the regional delegate or to the divisional delegate. You are just seated because of maybe your personal arrangement or because of an accord that you have with the person. You are just there turning around, saying nothing. It means that at that time, you are also responsible. And that is why in most of the services, those situations are being hidden. Are hidden by those.
Don't you think that in some cases, principals, for example, there are some cases where their hands are tied?
No, you cannot be talking about when you are a principal, you are the manager, you are the boss at a certain level. It means that all those who are under your supervision, you should be able to denounce when.
Do you understand what I mean by his hands are tied?
Meaning that what?
Meaning that maybe
apart from a corruption act,
maybe there are some teachers where he things that he cannot control, because when you want to talk to a teacher and the teacher tells you, you cannot control me. In that case, what do you do?
In that case, you write your report and then you forward it to your own hierarchy, which is the regional delegate and etc. And I wanted to come back to what Mr. Hassan was talking about, saying that the police cannot control. No, the police can control because there is a new system which was put in place, CGPS. Immediately you are in the airport, they take your name. Immediately they type your name in that machine and your date of birth, place of birth. If you are a civil servant, immediately all your information will appear
That is where the problem is. If
that
is the case,
no, that is the new system, and that is why you see most of them now. Most of the teachers who are going to Canada illegally, they are passing through Nigeria. Either they pass through the north, or that is how they are. But officially, actually, you cannot go, because when you are they type your name will come out, your matricle and all the information concerned. They will say, okay, at this time, this is not a holiday period, and then they cannot say a teacher at this time is on leave. Where are you? And then they will investigate, and your visa and all this thing will be blocked. You will not travel.
Okay.
Or unless you resign, because the government is not refusing. You resign before, because you can go in. They cannot stop someone to look for better working or better living condition. Mankind will always look for better working condition. You resign before going to another job.
Okay. I'll be coming back to you, Mr. Sama. 3,755, just within a very short space, and 5,000 in the pipeline. Is that not too much?
Well, I don't know what you put in too much, because how many civil servants do you have in Cameroon? I have more than 500,000 civil servants.
Yes.
And you are talking about 5,000. It is not up to 1%. We know that. Yeah. And so, but however, just even 5 is enough for us to say no, to cry foul. Yeah. It's just the same as what is happening in Norway and Southwest. When they kill one Cameroonian, they say, we have killed only one. People should not talk. No. Every one person who is a nuisance to the state, we should be able to talk about the person. So that number, it is really much. But I know you are the one asking questions here. I want to ask a rhetorical question. Why now? Since 2011, as he said.
He was making mention of the fact that the computerized system is trying to help the process now.
Yes, but why? Yes, my question still stands. Why now? No, the government should tell us what is happening. The thing is that when there was all this were happening, the government was still able to do its job without any hindrance. But now it appears funds, finance at the disposal of government is really dwindling, and the government has to do something. And it is said in that necessity is the mother of invention.
Sure.
The government now is trying to do something.
Okay.
It is not late. It's better late than even never.
Sure.
But the question now is, if we go deeper inside, are you people sure these people who are being punished are real? Are the people real? Because I can imagine that I have more than 50 friends who are working. I've not heard one who has been touched, who are not even here. I've not heard one. Are they real? Because this government is fond of trying to play to the gallery. Yes. However, let's wish that something will happen. But it is very, very negligible. As I earlier said, considering number of civil servants we have, it is negligible. And be careful that they are not looking for people that are falling out of grace. Yeah. Because as you said, you asked a question, somebody hands tied. No, I want to answer his place.
Okay.
If you have been given a post of responsibility, you have to work. If you cannot work, resign. You cannot be there as a principal and you tell the world that no, this man I cannot control. You have to control everybody as long as you are the boss. You have to control everybody.
But for economic reasons, is resignation
there's nothing like economic reasons, because what we should be thinking of is moral reasons and our pride.
Okay.
Can you imagine that you are a boss and there are some workers you cannot control? Are you still a boss? No. So back to where we are, I think that the government is coming very, very late.
Okay.
Very, very late, because a lot of damage has been caused to this country.
Okay.
I thought that NSANGOU was going to answer how a government can take part in the burial of a civil servant, yet salary keeps on passing because he has not been informed officially.
Okay.
It's not a ping pong between us.
Okay. Thank Julius. Massive sacking, is it an effective solution?
Thank you. Before I land on that, let me talk about the issue of tight hands. Tight hands, to me, I see it this way. There are some subordinates that do not listen to their bosses because they count on some people in the higher hierarchy. Yes, so we need to understand that. Okay. You can go to maybe a division like Boyo. There is a school where a common teacher in that school is more connected to to the ministry than the principal of that school.
It goes back to the recruitment
Exactly.
process that he was trying to highlight.
Exactly. No matter the type of report that that principal will write concerning that teacher, the report will never yield any fruits at the level of the ministry because they protect you actually work on that and you will not have any results. So that is where I really see the issue of tight hands working so negatively when it comes to the war that the government has launched. So that is it. You even go to schools, for example, the last basic recruitment, the last two basic recruitments, and from Boom subdivision, there are some teachers that were sent to that particular subdivision. They have never gone there, but they are receiving their salary.
Sure.
They have resumption of duties, but they don't know Boom subdivision. They have never matched their food there. So those are some of the things. Yes, is massive sacking the solution?
Yeah.
It is partially a solution.
Okay.
Why? Because the sacking will intimidate some people to actually do what the government wants them to do. But it is not really a solution because the government just needs to put in place mechanisms to track those who are not in their job sites.
Okay.
We talked about security. He talked about CGPS, which is one of the best things that the Minister of Public Service is trying to do. Though Cameroon is more of an analog state where it will be difficult to actually go through with that system because it requires internet connection, computer, mastery of computer, and all computerization. Okay. Yes. So it is operational, I know, but operational mostly only in the regional headquarters. So this is a system that was supposed to be decentralized. This is a system that was supposed to be decentralized. Like, you are not supposed to send someone to go and do a head count or maybe send people from the interiors to walk to the ministry to submit their documents there. It is supposed to be done even at the level of the regional divisional delegations or the 58 divisional delegations so that it should be effective. For example, if a principal of a school in Ngolmundoka issues a resumption of service to a teacher and it is brought to the ministry by his cousin, how will you know? Because he will be inserted in the system, and the system will say that this person is present. So we want it in a way that it should be decentralized to the point where the government should be able to track, and it can only go with internet connectivity, computerization, right to the interiors of Cameroon. Okay. So it is a whole chain that the government has to work on very hardly to be able to realize that. But at the moment, the government has to intimidate by sacking.
Intimidating by sacking. And ABEL, when you want to look at the working conditions of state workers, will you say sacking here is the surest solution that we can maybe bring in now to be able to regulate the situation?
Yeah, like my brother said, is part of the solution. Okay. But when we go to the working condition, that is another ball game because you would not recruit somebody and send in a village where there is no social amenity, in a remote rural zone. The person who has spent more than 20 years in the city know what it means to go and sit somewhere in a snack, has a series of bottles of beer. You want to send him in a village where he will sit in a thatched house drinking bamboo. He will tell you that life is very deplorable and doesn't accept. But there is something we are focusing on. We are talking about the government of Cameroon. We are talking about the machinery of this government. Yeah. And I've heard a lot of issues permit me try to come back because what my brother, for example, YACUBU is saying is actually what is operational. But I will tell you that there is more of theory, not practical. Practical, let us go in the practicability of it. I have come across teachers who have been sanctioned by their principal, like Mr. Hassan said. And he looks and laughs because he knows that in the human resource department of his ministry, he has succeeded to create a soluble relationship, and it is a human resource that fits in the data into the synergies, like what my brother was saying. But one of the problems we are facing with this issue of sacking of mass public servants is because of the hyper decentralization that we have at the top. We have not, no, it is decentralization, the hyper decentralization. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Hassan.
Yes.
Because it takes a lot of time, energy, human resources for a teacher who is found in one subdivision, for his head teacher in government school, GOM, to be able to say that I've not seen this human being for the past 9 months, he needs to write, like my brother said, to the divisional inspector, the divisional inspector. Thank you. The subdivisional inspector. The subdivisional inspector will write to the divisional delegate. The divisional delegate will write to the divisional inspector. So it is a hyper procedure. But we Cameroonians, we could have loved a situation where the head teacher, the principal, is given that power to be able to do what? Sack if the person is not there, and recruit immediately the person is not there. I take a journalist's example. If I'm working under the company of Mr. Hassan, there will be no way for me to be able to absent from work from 2 weeks without Mr. Hassan being in a well. But just because the head teachers don't have that power, it has pushed most of them to practice the aspect of corruption. Okay. But if you give them that power, and that is why I love the decentralization, which we are saying that it's too centralized. Because when you go into the Decentralization Act, the mayors have a lot of power. I take what I know very well, the educational system. Yeah. The mayor in his locality, first of all, will know the number of schools that are there, will have a head count on all the teachers who are there, and can easily control those who are not there. My brother talks about the fact that today at the different airports, they type your name. For those who have traveled out of this country will tell you, it is there. But do you know what the teachers are doing, or the other civil servants are doing? You know, Cameroon, we are very intelligent. Okay. God has given that one, but you come up with a hypothesis, we look for another hypothesis. This day they go to internet, they struggle to look for seminars. They look for seminars abroad, and one of the recommendations they are begging is that just give me an accreditation or an acceptance. And they use that acceptance to attach to their documents. And when this document is being posted or presented for those who are supposed to issue the visas, there is no way you will type him and discover that he is a teacher, he is a journalist, he's an administrator that wants to travel abroad. Okay. And you will stop him, Hyncenth, and you will discover that when Cameroonians start to go into that aspect, it comes back to the economic and working condition. We need to ameliorate the working condition. We need to make our employers, our civil servants love what they are doing. And from this, when they love what they are doing, it's going to contribute. But to solve this aspect, if we are looking at it, we need to look at it in 3 dimensions. Okay.
We'll be coming to those solutions. Let me just maybe quickly clear the air on some. According to Article 48 of the 1992 Labor Code, grounds for dismissal of civil servants. I want our audience maybe to be on the same page with us. You have crimes like serious misconduct. You have gross negligence. Gross negligence here boils back to what we call the absences without any justification. And then you have repeated offenses. Now, according to Decree number 2012/433 of October 2nd, 2012, on the public status, those sacked or those in trouble, they have a right to fair hearing, which means that though they are sacked, they can. Before being sacked, like the minister explained at the National Assembly, most of them were caught and then they came and justified. Some that justified have not been sacked. These are cases where maybe they did not show up.
And the minister did not tell us, or maybe he forgot to tell us, that we are talking here. It is good we set the records right. Yeah. Those 1,172 sacked are dead people.
Okay.
That's why Mr. Hassan will tell you that I know people, they have not yet touched the
anyway,
people.
That is still
those are the ones that
is still
they
to be
have discovered
verified.
That really
that is still
they
to
cannot
be,
be. And yeah, they are dead people.
That is still to be verified.
Because the 601 that came in, they pardoned them in the Presidential Disciplinary Council.
Yes.
One thing we want to do, we are in a transparent nation. Give us the list, publish the names. We have the national gadget. Okay. We have the national tribune. Publish the names. What I'm saying, publish the names in every subdivisions, in every locality, in every media platform, so that everybody should know that Hyncenth will know that Mr. BELA SAMARI, who was posted to work as a point in this place, is no longer a civil servant, and he will solve the question. But you will discover that most of those people, and that is why we still have 5,000.
Okay, Abel.
Maybe you are waiting for the others to die before we come and give the list out.
Yes, Abel, I think the message is clear. The names would have been published. I concord with that. But to concord with the fact that they are all dead people.
I saw the list.
Yes, to concord with the fact that they are all dead persons, I am still to verify that, and I cannot approve that here. And then those sacked, they equally have a right to appeal, which means that even among the 3,755 that have already been sacked, if they bring valuable justifications, maybe their case can change. And then, okay, then one notice period. They are entitled to a notice period before dismissal, depending on the circumstances. I think it boils back to point one where
they have done that.
Yes, they have done that, according to the explanation of the minister yesterday in Parliament. Yes, when we look at this dismissal, what are the consequences on the public service and the economy at large? You, as an economist on this panel.
Yes, as an economist, I would like to just say that it is an opportunity because we know the labor market in Cameroon is tough, where the supply of labor is greater than the demand for labor.
Okay.
And these 1,000, or let's say these 3,500 positions that have been created is a real opportunity for other, yes, and like Mr. Hassan was talking about, only one civil servant in a family. We have families where we do not have. Only one civil servant in a family carries a lot of people behind. It means that those 3,575 positions which has been created will also permit the government to launch new recruitment, and others will benefit. Because if you don't want to teach, others have come out from the GTTC.
We are not focusing only on teachers, please.
No, it is globally.
Yes.
It is a global situation. Yes. People have come out from the GTTC, from nursing schools, and they are waiting. They have been loitering around and then doing underpaid jobs. And I think that this will be a great opportunity, and it will also help the government to save a lot of finances. Before I forget, in 2019, the government lost 30 billion francs CFA annually since 2019 on those who are on
to ghost workers.
Yeah, to ghost workers, 30 billion. And then I think that 30 billion will really help in the in balancing other expenditures of the government.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Sama. How can the government balance the needs to discipline absent employees with the need to protect workers' rights? Because that is one of the fundamental problems.
Yeah, before I enter, the way looks a bit complicated. Their question, I'm not getting, but I would like to clarify some few things. I want NSANGOU, I'm sure it's a slip of the tongue. He's an economist.
Okay.
He said that the supply was higher than the demand. And it's the opposite. It's the demand that is higher than the supply.
Thank you.
It's just slip of, I know. I know that you understand what you were saying.
Thank you.
Then I've heard my brother there talking of the government should publish list. I hope that you are going to ask NJIKAM, director of NJIKAM, to publish the list of all the people who have registered this year as per the law. The law says they should publish it in one single document, all the electorates in Cameroon. We have been hearing that they say the very government that promulgated the law says it is impossible to do it. And instead of them resigning and saying that we cannot work, they are still there disrespecting our laws. I hope NJIKAM will not be
against the NJIKAM list has been published in the communal districts, and that's what he was trying to advocate.
What I am saying, that is not what the law says.
Yeah.
The law
I understand you.
The law says all the voters should be published in one single document. And it's supposed to, I don't know where it's supposed to be. I'm supposed to be at the central level where Yaoundé, I'm sure. But the man has decided to publish it in communal district. It's not the law. We are not there. That is not our debate. I just brought in this.
Yes.
Then, if your question again was?
My question was, how does the government balance the need maybe to hunt absentee civil servants with, at the same time, protecting the rights of these workers? Because the fundamental problem, as they were highlighting, is that most workers' rights are not protected.
Okay. Maybe I take it the way I've understood. As he said, maybe the working condition should be one of the causes why many people are fleeing the country.
Sure.
That there's insecurity on jobs. Yeah, but I think that as NSANGOU said, because we respect what he says here, considering that he's representing the party that is ruling. Although I know he has never seen Pope in his life. But what I want to say is, that the government, what the government is doing is the government is trying to trim down expenditure in order to meet up with this, the expectation of the population. The government will not launch new concours because those who are there, the government is not able to pay. You remember OTS and all what the government is unable to pay their accrued arrears. So the government will not launch any concours. I think what the government is what Freeman called assainissement. What will happen is that the government will now be able now to control what he has at hand now and see that those who are effective, and see that those who are effectively working, those who that the government has employed, the government should pay, should be able to pay, than to amass everybody in one place and is not able to pay.
And what happens to the vacuum?
No, they will not tell a vacuum. What happened to, since more than 5 ministers have died in Pobia's government, has he replaced any? Is there a problem in Cameroon? There is nothing. No, I'm not the one. You know them now. Even NSANGOU knows them very well. Even you are journalists, you know them. That those who have died for almost 5 years now, have they been replaced? So one thing, they have all said it, even NSANGOU said it, how people were recruited. There are some people who are recruited where there's no job, no job description, but they are there. They are hovering around. You go to a primary school in Yaoundé. In one class where it's supposed to be my village, supposed to be one teacher, you have 10 teachers.
In a classroom?
In a classroom. You have 10. All of them are there. Maybe only one person comes or 2 persons come. But they are all teaching in that school. You don't see them. They are collecting among you. Those are the type of things that we are decrying. So why you are hoping that the government is going to launch concours? The government, if government launches concours, it means that the government is repeating the same error of mass recruitment without the means to follow up the recruitment.
Maybe before I continue, just to correct that in this present government, only one minister has died, but we have some top officials that have died. So
can you take the one minister?
The minister of mines.
The 5.
The minister of mines. I mean, in this present government.
Yes. So the minister of Ayatu is not called a minister.
Anyway,
he's Secretary of State.
He's a minister now.
That's why I say other officials. Yeah. Thank you so much.
A lot of directors, a lot of ministers. Secretary is a cabinet. They're in the cabinet.
Dan Julius, we are almost moving out, but I want us to look at, are there good examples from other countries that we can copy to be able to curb this very rising phenomenon that we are battling with in Cameroon? As the government of Cameroon, are there other good examples we can copy?
Of course, there are good examples. And most of the times, when you see some problems surface, don't just look at the problem. Look at the root cause of the problem.
Yes.
And the issue of absentee workers in Cameroon has a root cause. The root cause is human resource management. How does the state manage workers? You talked about balancing the sacking and the workers' right, whatsoever. Yes, it is crystal clear that when it comes to workers' rights in Cameroon, there is an imbalance when it comes to that, because most of the time when you recruit a worker, there are some conditions that you really have to meet for that worker to be able to perform well, because you must make you must ensure that there is an enabling environment for that worker to deliver. Because first, the human resource management entails that a worker needs to really be calm off before
have a free mind to work.
Free mind to work and willing to work. So all of that is really absent within the Cameroon system. At times I really ask myself what human resource managers within the state are actually advising the state to do when it comes to managing, doing this work. I was in Rwanda recently, and we visited Rwanda's parliament. And when we were going around the Genocide Museum, there is something that I asked the director of that museum. I asked, I really want to know how satisfied, because the stories they were giving us, they were giving us stories that were very fluent about the genocide that happened in Rwanda in 1994.
Yeah.
So when I asked him, he told me he tried to give some conditions, how the state have structured so many other things. And you realize that it rolls back to how the state is developed.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing that the government can really do effectively with that development.
Yeah.
First, internet, ICT, because this issue of tracking or motivating workers, ensuring the workers can really do what they are employed to do, a worker should be able to drive to his job site, to his or her job site without any hitches. A worker should be able to communicate with his family from where he works.
Yeah.
A worker should be able to submit reports without any hitches. But if those facilities are not there, it becomes very difficult, even for the state to follow up the worker. And that's why the difficulties are even skyrocketing.
Thank you so much. ABEL, maybe in less than 1 minute, please. Your last word.
Yes. Before I say something, let me correct. Mr. Hassan is a researcher.
There's no time, please.
Yes. You know what data means in the development of a country. YACUBU is a researcher. You know what data means when it comes to the development of every nation. When we say we publish figures, or do we publish data? Those who are dismissed, how many have come out? They talked about human resource. And those working in most of our human resources are those playing that maneuver. They collect people who are dead. They keep on collecting their salaries.
Okay.
And if we have to publish a data, it should be. But there is one aspect I want to add.
You have to learn, please. There's no time.
There's one aspect I want to add to what he's saying.
Finished, yeah.
And that aspect is indiscipline.
Okay.
If we want to solve this aspect of people coming into the public service and being sent out through the window, we should bring in the aspect, we should look at the aspect of indiscipline.
Okay.
A lot of them are indisciplined.
Thank you so
much.
much.
That is why it's creating this problem.
In less than 10 seconds, please.
I would like to say this is a very good measure, and then the government should keep on with the dismissals, and they should even come at the level of corruption. It means that if you are guilty of a corruption,
you don't know what the minister has gone through,
being
some
it for the
political
police,
gurus,
being it for
to be able to publish
embezzlement and etc.
Thank you. In less than 5 seconds, please.
I just want to thank my co-panelists, the presenter, that I am very satisfied with the atmosphere that has reigned here.
Thank you so
much. I've not seen anybody fighting to take the microphone.
Thank you so much.
Well. So
thank you so much, and thank you all for watching. The rebroadcast of this program is on Wednesday at 11 p.m. Until we meet again next Saturday at 12:30. Stay safe and stay blessed. Bye-bye.